EVC. One more time, EVC and his crew, who streamed a little bit earlier and just finishing off his stream and coming over here. One more time, it's time for a raid. So welcome all of you coming over from EVC's Theme Team stream. Hope you had a good stream there, EVC. Good to see you guys. And as I was pointing out, we are going to have our next giveaway on Thursday. We're going to have kind of a little contest. I got a guest coming on from the community. Some of you may know this guest, but this guest and I are going to do something kind of a little bit unique, but a little bit different. And you kind of need to be here right at the beginning of the stream on Thursday to enter that contest. Usually my giveaway is at the very end of my streams. We're going to do half of it at the beginning and half of it at the end. So yes, tune in. As I said, this is the week of visiting and getting to know people. And one thing I want to do on my stream is try and get more community involvement, try and get some guests on, try and talk about OOTP and baseball and their love of baseball. So today I have my first guest of the week. Yes, I would like to introduce you to a friend, a former colleague, someone that is a huge sports nut and just loves baseball. So please join me in welcoming Eric to the channel. How are you doing today, Eric?
I'm doing well. Thanks very much. I'm glad Christmas is over, and yeah, we're getting closer to the baseball season, I guess, and getting on with things. So yeah, no, things are going very well.
Yeah, so I asked Eric to come on, and you see that Eric is he's a huge sports nut, hockey, baseball. If you can hit it, if you can throw it, Eric will tune in and watch that sporting event. And you see, he's all dressed up in his Pirates regalia, which of course goes with today's theme, episode number 44, which is We Are Family. And I felt that Eric has been part of my family the last, 15, 20 years as a colleague, as a friend, and wanted to bring him on and talk a little bit about, his background with baseball and watching baseball. And then we're going to, bring in some OOTP into this conversation as well. So thanks again, Eric, for taking some time out of this busy holiday season and joining today. So I guess, first of all, let's talk a little bit about when did you first really kind of take an interest in baseball? Kind of take us back, because I'm a Gen Xer. I believe you're a Gen Xer.
Yeah.
Many of the people watching today are, boomers or Gen Xers. Tell us a little bit about your early baseball memories.
Well, and I think the important thing we're Gen Xers, but we're Gen Xers with a difference. So in the sense that we were Canadian baseball fans, and as a Canadian baseball fan, certainly that meant the Expos, and yes, the Blue Jays came along later, but we have CBC television, and I think they played a game a week, and so I think I really started to get into the National League, of course, because of the Expos. And then, of course, when the Blue Jays came and it was the American League, and certainly we knew about the Yankees and the '77 Yankees are the ones that I think of the most. The Billy Martin years and then not years and then years and then he was fired and so on and so forth. But for me, I think it started with my dad. If there was, you talk about me, if you can hit it, if you can kick it, if you can catch it, we're watching. So it started with him. He was that kind of guy. He watched everything, and if the Expos were on, we're watching the Expos, and so I think that's probably where baseball started. I was really never much of a player. Of course, you always played it at school, and we did have a little league, but that wasn't kind of where I was. I was more just kind of watching, and of course, when World Series would roll around, we'd watch that every year, and the playoffs and so on and so forth. So that's kind of where I started. So I'm going to say probably the early 70s is where we really started to get into it.
All right. And I don't know if you can see, I don't know from guest wise when I bring you into the stream, if you can see the comments. Can you see the comment there at the bottom?
Best uniform ever and best team ever, 79 Pirates. And that's absolutely where it started for me as well. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I agree with
39
that.
Cobra, who is a viewer of the streams and an OOTP baseball player. Yeah, he is a big 79's Pirates fan as well. So, that's why I asked you to bring on the uniform and the baseball hat and bring that hat a little bit closer. Is that the old school, old style?
I wish it was. It wasn't the first one I had, which was in '79, and it had the kind of the foam on the inside to really make it keep its shape and so on and so forth. So they brought these back. They were using them on Sunday games and the old yellow uniform as well. I have a Willie Stargell, and we'll talk about Willie, I'm sure, because that's kind of where it starts with me. Um, and so anyway, these have come along, but so I was really glad to get this. When I was in Pittsburgh, I picked up one, but it wasn't kind of the official fitted one, and but this one is, and it's absolutely my favorite pirate hat. It needs the Stargell stars on it. I wish I had a bunch of stars, but I haven't really done anything to earn them, and that's a whole different category.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Well, let's start talking about your favorite team growing up and the 1979 Pittsburgh Pirates. So, again, as a young kid, you were probably, 15, 16, somewhere around there. What do you remember about that 79 roster? I'm going to bring up the roster on the screen here. Kind of, we'll go through it kind of piece by piece, and let's start alphabetically. Any names on here that jump out that you remember watching as a kid?
well, certainly Bert Blyleven comes up. I remember him very well as a pitcher, and so he's the one from a pitching standpoint that I see, and of course. I see John Candelaria. I remember him very well. Um, and yeah, so those are the two that really kind of stand out for me.
Okay,
It's
and
been
hitting
a few
wise,
years.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And you
it's
know,
been a while.
full transparency, I grew up watching the Dodgers because I was anti-Yankee, and the Dodgers would meet the Yankees often in the World Series, at least from what I remember. And of course, the Don Sutton, the Davey Lopes, the Steve Garvey, all those classic Dodger names led by Tommy Lasorda. So I kind of get where you're coming from with the Pirates. Some of the names are very familiar, others a little bit hazy, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They are, and it's been a long time, and of course, one of the ones that you're going to come across, as I mentioned, was Willie Stargell, and Willie was for me, and affectionately known as Pops, and when I was at PNC Park in 2014, there's even a Pop's eatery, and of course that's dedicated to him. Tragically, I think he died before. I think it was very close to when the PNC Park opened, and there's a big statue of Willie, which I took many pictures with outside of PNC Park, and he was just it for me. Kids in Canada growing up our age, Bobby Orr was probably our first hero as a hockey player because he was everywhere and everybody knew about him and he changed the game. But Bobby was young. See, by the time '79 rolled around, Willie Stargell had been playing a very long time, and but he was still that. He just had class, and so yeah, he's absolutely hands down my favorite ball player ever. always will be. Yeah, he was really something. So, and that whole "We Are Family," and the Sisters Sledge song, and something to this day the Pittsburgh Pirates use as a slogan, and it's something that's lasted forever, and yeah, we are family. We've had a lot of rough years as a family, but at that time it was magical, and it was amazing. And yeah, no, I just fell in love with them, fell in love with Willie, and certainly the pillbox hats, is what I call it, and I don't think that's the official name, but I remember that was the first baseball cap I ever bought on my own, and I can't remember. It was probably a crazy amount of money back in '79, like $15 or something along those lines. But it didn't matter because I had to have it, and wore it proudly till I wore it out. Actually, to be honest with you, the foam kind of came off, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and speaking of We Are Family, which is again probably one of the top 10, sports themed songs of all time. I mean, Mo grew up at that time, remember that. Do you know, kind of catching off guard here, do you know how that originated as the pirate theme?
No. What do you got for me?
Well, I'm glad you have asked. Well, apparently, and let's talk about this, because if those of you that grew up watching baseball are unfamiliar with how the Pirates adopted that as their theme, apparently in June of 1979, there was a rain delay, and they were playing against the Padres, and it was just pouring rain. And the Pirates had lost or had won 5 games in a row, but they kind of started off slow at the beginning of the season. So they were kind of on a roll, and then they got hit by this rain delay. And typically in that time period in the Pirates, what they would do is one of two things. They would, while they were cleaning up the field and waiting for the delay to finish, they would either put on the big screen This Week in Baseball for them and the fans to watch, or they
show.
would, yeah, it was a classic show.
Love it.
Or they would play some of the biggest songs of the time period. And apparently one of Willie Stargell's favorite songs at the time was We Are Family. So what happened was he apparently got on the phone and asked for the team, the social, we would call today a social media manager. And the social media manager said, "What can I do for you?" And Willie Stargell said, "Hey, blast We Are Family, during this rain delay." And the PR director did that, put it on, and the rest is history. That song became uniquely tied to the team. So they put it on the center field board, they blasted it up, and We Are Family was announced because Willie Stargell said, "Hey, put on We Are Family, and I want you to announce it as the new Pirates official song."
There you go.
And that's what they did. And that's where it kind of picked up. And the Pirates would go on a roll. Willie apparently literally was on his back with his arms and feet up in the air, rolling around in the dugout, laughing and just having a ball. And that's the kind of player he was, right? He was just this jolly, good-natured, fun guy to be around.
And he was a veteran. I think as a veteran, you get away with that kind of stuff, right? And the captain of the team, he was it. And so yeah, I think at that stage in his career, he could do that, and the rest is history, like you say. So yeah, no, it's cool. I did not know that, and of course it warms my heart to know that it was Willie who led it, and it's still going on. Like I said, it's still. I have a T-shirt that says "We Are Family." And if you're not a baseball person, you think I'm a bit of a freak kind of thing, or maybe Earth kind of person who, we're all family, but no, it's in reference to the Pirates, and yeah, for sure. And it's got the Pittsburgh Pirate logo, but like I said, if you're not a baseball person, as some members of my family are, it's like, oh yeah, well that's good. And I'm like, oh my God, that's
Yeah.
not what I'm talking about. But yeah, you get the idea.
What do you remember
So
about Dave Parker? Because he was part of that team as well, and that's a name that I
yeah,
remember.
yeah, it's a name I remember as well. Dave Parker stands out. You know what? He was fairly young, I think, at that particular time, but he was a heck of a specimen. He was big and strong, um, and he was one that you could count on. So as much as you look to Willie, you also look to Dave Parker when it came to being at the plate. So those two for sure. I mean, not to mention we haven't mentioned the fact, but it was the first ever African American opening lineup, right? And that's really something as well. Unfortunately, even at as late as 1979. But yeah, that was something too. That was, and it's something to be proud of, And visiting Pittsburgh, I went through the Pittsburgh. They have kind of a museum, if you will, there, if I remember correctly, and because it was 2014, so it's been 10 years since I've been there, and or going on 10 years, and they have a picture dedicated to that, and it really stands out. So they're very proud of that as well.
And you can't talk about the Pirates without mentioning a player as a young kid. I kind of marveled at how he threw the ball, and that was their closer, Kent Tekulve. What do you remember about Kent?
I remember the glasses, to be honest with you. Right, it wasn't Ken Tekulve. Didn't he have the like? He had he looked like an accountant, is what I remember, if I remember correctly. Right, and I think that's something. But he was also somebody you could rely on, like you said, and he was a big part of that '79 team. Because of course we know it's not all offense. It's you have to have some other components to it. So yeah, there we go. So and so to me he looked like a to me, yeah, he really did. He looked like an accountant there. He's got the shades on, but yeah, and his delivery was always something that was very interesting as well. So that was intriguing too. So
Yeah, and sometimes we time goes by so quick, and we look at players as they age over time, and looking at Kent Tekulve in more recent years, like you'd hardly recognize him as players age as we age. It's
indeed.
like it's almost like a wow, like because in our brain we
Yeah.
see them as their 1979 version, right? And to
Mhm.
see photos of them currently, it's a little bit shock to the system. I'm sure you see that with a lot of sports figures from the past.
You do, like, even as a hockey fan, to see Wayner now, Wayne Gretzky. You, it's not how I remember him. When I and you they remain frozen in time, like you say, during their playing days, and please, let them age. They're allowed to age and so on. And like the rest of us, they're not the athletes that are they were built, and unfortunately I could go back to my own pictures from about 30 years and I don't know if I'd recognize myself. So it makes sense that they too go through that as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, very cool. Cool to kind of reminisce. And, the Pirates, as you said, had one of the best uniforms at that time in the late
Oh,
1970s. It was just so unique and so cool. Well, Eric, we are coming up on our first ad break here. So I'm going to take you off stream. And once the ad is done, we'll bring you back. And then we're going to play some Pirates OOTP. So we'll be back in about 90 seconds. Stay tuned, guys, as we replay the 1979 Pirates and get the viewers involved a little bit as well. Be back in about 90 seconds. All right, welcome back. Thank you to the Twitch sponsors for helping us streamers continue to stream on Twitch. And today, again, I have a guest on, a friend, a colleague, Eric, and we're talking old school baseball from the 70s, specifically the Pittsburgh Pirates. Thank you for the 144 that are here today watching on stream. And hopefully, you leave some comments and feel free to, give a little bit of your memories about growing up, watching baseball and some of the teams that you followed and some of the players that you followed. Again, we're kind of focusing on the Pirates today, which again, 39 Cobra probably can really connect with. And we're going to get OOTP involved in this conversation too. Remember, if you just kind of came into the stream, I will be doing my next giveaway on Thursday. I have another guest coming in from the community that plays OOTP. And boy, that's going to be a fun episode because we're going to do something cool and unique. And there's going to be a contest involved, but you got to be here right at the beginning. So try to tune in right about 1:30 Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. We'll get you to fill out a Google form and we'll see who ends up being the best fortune teller, prognosticator for what we're going to do on Thursday. So yeah, be back for that. So bringing Eric back on stream. Eric, in OOTP, it is a simulation baseball that allows you to play not so much video game style like you'd see on an Xbox or PlayStation, but simulation with statistics and numbers. And, you can compete against real people or you can compete against the computer, the AI. And one of the things that it allows you to do is to replay a World Series, a game against any team from any era. So, of course, we are going to play with your Pirates from 1979. Okay, they were kind of at the tail end of that baseball boom era. And we are going to look for a competitor. And we'll get people in the chat. Who should the Pirates of 1979, who would you like them to see match up against in this one-game showdown, this one-game World Series replay? And Eric will give you a few choices there as they're mentioned in the chat, and then you can kind of pick the team that you want your Pirates to go against. All right, guys, so again, jot down a team. Who do you want them to see? We have a couple people that want the 79 Orioles.
That would have been my first pick.
Cobra and JB. Yeah, they're saying bring on the rematch. So we'll give it a few more seconds just to see if we have any other choices. But it's funny how we remember those classic series. We got Cubs fan Steve putting his opinion in. He says, bring on the 1965 Dodgers. We've got Monterdon saying, hey,
Pirates.
let's have them play against a previous team, the 60s Pirates. So we've got the 65 Dodgers, we've got the 79 Orioles, the 60 Pirates. We'll give it another 30 seconds just to see if you have any other choices on who they're going to come up against. Oh, we've got the classic 69 Mets as well. The comeback kids. We'll give it like 15 seconds. What do you guys think? Who is going to be good opposition for the Pirates? EVC and NYC, who rated into the stream, again, thank you very much, is saying the 2013 Cardinals. Ooh, we got a division rival there with the 2013 Cardinals. And EVC is a big Dodger fan too, so very cool. He probably grew up around the same time I did. I think he's probably a Gen Xer too, and we remember those early Dodger days. And Fernando Valenzuela is kind of like the Kent Tekulve, right, in terms of their unique pitching style. All right, Eric, what do you think? Who do you want to see your Pirates go up against?
So do I get to choose?
Do you want them, and then I'll plug it all in. Do you want the 79 Orioles? Do you want the 65 Dodgers, the 60 Pirates, 69 Mets, or the Cardinals?
You know what? I'm really intrigued by the 60 Pirates because, and I know it's kind of an inter-squad game, But of course, the '60 Pirates won the World Series 4-3 over the Yankees. And whenever you beat the Yankees, that stands out. But of course, that was before my time. So I'm intrigued by that group.
We've also got a late request too, the 71 St. Louis Cardinals. We've got them as well. Bob Gibson.
Bob Gibson. Okay.
What do you think?
All right, let's not go inter-squad, even though it is intriguing. So let's go for the Dodgers, the 65 Dodgers.
The 65 Dodgers. All right. Yeah. Let's see how they match up against then. And maybe at a future time, we can do the rematch with the Orioles. So we've got the 65.
Well, we already know how that turned out. So come on. There's no rematch. We don't want to do that.
You don't want to be disappointed, right?
Well, it turned out just fine. Let's leave it alone.
Yeah, I hear you. It's like replaying the 1990 Stanley Cup where Edmonton won. We don't need to replay that because we don't want it. We don't want something a new history created.
That's right. That's correct.
Okay. So we have the 65 Los Angeles Dodgers up against the Pirates from 1979. And just to give you an idea, Eric, of some of the players on the Dodgers at that time.
Yeah.
Don Drysdale.
Yeah.
Might have heard of Sandy Koufax.
Once or twice, yeah.
Who else did we got there? Jim LaFabe. We've got Wally Moon, Willie Davis, Tommy Davis, Maury Wills. Right? Okay, so it's gonna be an interesting.
That pitching staff is interesting. Yeah, the pitching, right? That's what really stands out for me. Those two names for sure.
Yeah.
Sandy Koufax and what was the Drysdale? Is that what we said? So
yeah, Drysdale was the other one.
Yeah.
So the way the game has it matched up, they've got 1979 Jim Bibby going up against Sandy Koufax. You remember Jim Bibby from 1979? He went 12-4.
Yes. Yeah, no, he stands out for sure.
Okay. So we're going to get into the game action here. And again, here are your starting lineups for the visiting 1965 Dodgers. We have Maury Wills at shortstop. In the second spot, Jim LaFabe. Batting third, Jim Gilliam. In the cleanup role, we have Lou Johnson. Fifth is Ron Fairley in right field. Wes Parker will be batting sixth at first base. Willie Davis, center field, batting seventh. And catching will be John Roseborough. Of course, we have no DH. So hitting number 9 will be the one, the only Sandy Koufax. And in 1965, Sandy Koufax went 26-8 with 2 saves and a 2.04 ERA. So, Eric, you might want to be a little scared.
I was going to say, it sounds like he was okay, right? Like he was all right. Yeah.
They were okay. Yeah, they were okay. For your 1979 Pittsburgh Pirates, you have leading off Omar Moreno in center field. You have Bill Madluck, third base. Dave Parker in right field. Willie Stargell, cleanup at first base. Phil Gardner, their second baseman. John Milner in left field. Steve Nicosia in as the catcher, and Tim Foley at shortstop. So on the bench, you've got Ed Ott, Manny Seguin, Lee Lacy, Rene Sinnett, Dale Berra, Mike Easler, and Bill Robinson. And Cobra is pointing out how crazy it is that Omar Moreno almost had 700 at-bats that season. Wow, that just goes to show you how quickly they went through the lineup and their high-scoring games. So I'm going to give you the choice. Is there anyone in this lineup that you want to replace with someone on the bench or move around in the lineup? You are the manager. of this team? What do you think?
You know what? Why don't we, to get your viewers, Cobra seems to know his stuff as well. Why don't we go to somebody in the comments? They can make that move. I'm gonna let the audience make the move. Is that all right with you?
Good stuff.
All
All
right.
right, Cobra or other Pirates fans, what do you think? Anything we should change in the Pittsburg Pirates 79 lineup, or do we keep it as the computer has set it out? What do we got? I mean, some names I remember, Manny Seguin with perfect team. Do we want him as the starting catcher? Do we want Ed Ott? Seguin's 35 years old. Not great offensive abilities. Ed Ott, same thing. So in terms of our catchers, this is the starting catcher, 24-year-old. Got a fairly decent ability. Or do we go Ed Ott? A little bit more experience? Or Manny Seguin, who can also play first base? Or do we just let the chips go where they may and go with the CPU? So what do you think, Cobra, if you're still in the stream? I know, again, a lot of guys are working and just kind of have it on in the background, but any changes? Cobra says the only one would be Easler for Milner, but it's a very biased opinion. The hitman. Easler for Milner. Yeah, so Easler's 28 years old. There's his ratings there. A lot of yellow for Easler, whereas Milner got a little bit more green, got a little bit more ability, 29 years old. What do you think, Eric? You're making the final call. Leaving
Audience
Milner?
has spoken. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Easler is in. What does Lacey show? So Cobra's asking about Lee Lacey. There we go. That is the numbers for Lee Lacey in left field and second base. Of course, their current second base is Phil Gardner. I don't think you want to replace him. So it's just finding that left field spot between Easler, Lacey, and John Milner. Ooh, right-handed batters versus Sandy Koufax. Good thing. How do they match up against the righties? So not as well for Lee Lacey. He does better against the left-handed pitchers. So what do you think, Cobra? Are you going to replace anyone else in the lineup? You and Eric, big 79 Pirates fan. And as Cobra is kind of thinking about that, thanks again for all of you watching, over 140 of you here. Thanks, Rob VD fan, for the follow. Once again, thanks to EVC and NYC2 for rating in. And Cobra says he's good to go.
I agree.
Do we stick with Jim Bibby as the pitcher? I think we probably pretty much have to. Looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let me go back to the game. And we are not going to play every batter, every inning, because that does take a while. We are going to go until there's runners in scoring position for either team. So this is Three Rivers Stadium in 1979. Jim Bibby on the mound and Maury Wills leading off for the Dodgers. So we'll do the first batter and then go to scoring position. Here's the pitch, and we get a surprise bunt to start things off. And the runner, let me just switch my cameras here. There we go. We're good there. And let's go wide, I think. Let's try these cameras. All right, so we'll go runners in scoring position. And it doesn't take long. The Dodgers have runner at second base, Jim LaFave at the plate. Here comes the pitch, and that is driven. Once again, we got to get the cameras right here. So many cameras to choose from. Let's try that one. All right, so that moves the runner over to third base with one out, and Jim Gillian at the plate, and he takes a walk. He trots off to first base. Pirates in a little bit of trouble here, Eric. 2 on, 1 out.
Early.
Real early for Lou Johnson. And Johnson goes down swinging. Bibby records the strikeout. Can he get Ron Fairley? Unfairly, and that is going to be the third out of the inning. That's going to bring up the Pirates for their first at bat. We've got Omar Moreno leading off. Not very good contact or power, but he is their leadoff guy. Sandy Koufax on the mound, and that is driven to right field, but a lazy fly ball, and that retires Moreno. We'll go to runners in scoring position. Pirates have a runner on second base, Dave Parker at the plate. Parker against Koufax. What a matchup. Here comes the pitch. Parker, oh, good night. That clears the 325-foot right field wall, and Dave Parker puts Eric's Pirates on top 2-0. Ooh, that was taboo.
It was.
Pirates are continuing a drive to center field. That is going to put a runner on first base, Willie Stargell, with the single. Phil Garner at the plate. Koufax is getting lit up in the first, and Garner drops one into right field. Willie, yeah, don't test it, Willie. You might want to hold up at second. He doesn't have the legs anymore.
No, pretty old at that stage for sure.
Willie Stargell, if you look at his speed here in red, Eric, he's got 25 rated speed.
I think he was a 39-year-old man at that point. So
he was 39 years old.
Had a little bit of bulk on him as well. So
just a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So they're still threatening here. We have Mike Easler at the plate. And Easler lines one past the third baseman. Willie chugs into third, and we have bases loaded, top or bottom of one, and only one out. For Steve Nicosia. And that is going to be an infield fly. That's going to be the second out of the inning. Still bases loaded for the number 8 hitter, Tim Foley. And that's driven to third base, and the 65 Dodgers boot it. Oh, they can't turn. The fielder's choice, and the third run, Willie Stargell scores, and it's 3-0. Bottom of one, 2 out. Jim Bibby, the pitcher. Do we want to replace him? No, we don't want to pitch for him yet.
No. Good Lord.
And he goes down swinging as expected. Well, that was an eventful first inning for the Pirates. Let's go runners in scoring position. Top of 2, we have the Dodgers with runners on first and third. Sandy Koufax at the plate. 1 away. Oh, the bunt attempt is missed, and he goes down swinging on a missed bunt. So that brings up the top of the order for the Dodgers and Maury Wills. 2 on, 2 out. And a weak ground ball hit to shortstop. That is going to retire the Dodgers in the second inning. We go to bottom of 2. 1 out, 1 on. And at the plate, Dave Parker. Hit a 2-run shot in the first inning, and he is up against Koufax. And this time it is going to be caught by the left fielder. 2 away. Runner still on second for Willie Stargell. Kin, Eric's hero, Cobra's hero. Do something. Oh, he goes down swinging. That ends the second inning. Still 3-0 Pirates. We are now in the top of the third. The Dodgers have Jim LaFave at second base and Jim Gilliam at the plate. Weak ground ball to third, and that retires Gilliam. Lou Johnson at the plate. He squeaks one through the midfield, and here comes the runner from second, and he is safe. He is safe. The Dodgers with their first run. All right, we go to bottom of 3. The Pirates can get nothing going. Top of 4. The Dodgers, nothing going for them. Bottom of 4. Still a 3-1 game going to the top of the 5th. 5 hits for the Dodgers, 6 for the Pirates. And the Dodgers can get nothing going. Sandy Koufax still on, 4 innings, no walks, 8 strikeouts. And here we go. The Pirates have Bill Madlock on second base, Dave Parker at the plate, no one out. What's your call here? Call your shot here. What's Parker going to do?
Left field.
Fly out to left field?
No, fly out.
Oh, how about a strikeout?
Fly out. So he's going to fail? No, he's not going to fail.
Cobra mentions that Jim Bibby could hit a little bit. So he was one of those pitchers that had a little bit of hit in him. All right, 1 away for Willie Stargell. Okay, he's your guy. What's he going to do?
It's going to be it's going to be a one bagger. He's going to go between first and second.
All right. Here's the pitch, and he goes down swinging. Koufax has found his game. Phil Gardner up, 2 out, runner on second base. And Gardner hits one to left field, but that is going to be caught, and the side is retired. We go to top of 6. Nothing for the Dodgers. Bottom of 6. Pirates. Again, everything was in that first inning for the Pirates. Bibby still on the mound. Top of 7. And nothing for the Dodgers. So we have our 7th inning stretch. When you went to the ball games, were you a peanuts and Cracker Jack kind of guy, Eric?
Yeah, that's food. You bet. Anything that was food.
I think you're on mute.
You know what? Oh, am I? How did that happen? Oh,
I think you might be good. Can you hear me now? Yep, you're good.
Yeah. Anyway, no, I'm a hot dog guy all the way, to be honest with you. Give me the hot dogs. So, obviously. So, yeah.
Okay, so Cobra thinks we're in the bottom of 7. Jim Bibby's at the plate. Cobra thinks that it's time to pinch hit. What do you think? No one on, no one out, bottom of 7. Do we pinch hit for Jim Bibby? And if we do, who do we bring in as pitcher? And who pinch hits? Or do you want to keep Bibby in the game because he's still going strong?
No, let's pinch hit. Pinch hit. I think that's a wise thing. I can't see your stats, though, so I don't know who's kind of standing out as the best. So,
all right, Cobra's calling for Milner. So
Milner.
Okay. Yeah, he's kind of the dugout coach here. So he's coming in. John Milner's going to pinch hit.
Yep.
And pitching wise, we'll do that. I guess I don't think I have warm-up pitchers on here. Let me just double check. Are pitchers supposed to be warming up? No warm-up required. So we're good at the bottom of the inning. John Milner up against a new Dodger pitcher. The Dodgers have brought in Bob Miller. Bob Miller, pretty decent relief guy. Young guy, 26, has fairly even stuff and movement, but he's got a little bit better control. So let's see what Milner can do against Miller. And he goes down swinging. All right, bottom of 7. We need to put in a pitcher. What do you think, Cobra? And then we'll get the confirmation from Eric. Who comes in the top of the 8th? We've got Bruce Kisson, Don Robinson, Bert Blyleven, John Candelaria, Joe Coleman, Doc Ellis, Dave Roberts, Enrique Romo, and Kent Tekulve. Up for the Dodgers. Let's see. They've got Jim Gilliam, a switch hitter, Lou Johnson, who bats right, and Ron Fairley, a lefty. So no real advantage there. You got a switch hitter, a righty, a lefty, and then another switch hitter in Wes Parker. Remember, this is one game take all. So if you want to bring in a starter, you can bring in a starter. Kissing. Don Robinson is the call. You okay with that, Eric?
I am indeed.
Right. Oops, got to bring him in over here as the pitcher. All right, we're back to game action, top of 8. And we're going to go batter by batter in these last 2 innings. Jim Gilliam up at the plate, and he starts off the inning with a mid single up the center field area. So he is on base. Lou Johnson strikes out, 1 out, top of 8. Runner on first for Ron Fairley. A weak dribbler. Can they turn the double play? They do. Good call, management team. We get the double play, and the Pirates go to the bottom of the 8th, up 3-1. Bob Miller still on the mound for the Dodgers. Dave Parker at the plate. He hits one to center field, and that is going to be caught, 1 away. That brings up Willie. One more call your shot here. What's Willie going to do this time?
Willie's been striking out a lot. Yeah, I'm gonna. Why not? Let's go. Home run over right field.
Home run over right field. And on that note, we have our next ad break. So stay tuned, guys. We'll be back in 90 seconds, and we will find out if Willie can pop one over the fence. Be back in 90 seconds. And see you in just a bit. All right, we are back. Welcome back as we continue on our Pirates versus the 1965 LA Dodgers. Classic matchup. And if you haven't been here from the beginning, just a little bit of a recap. I've got good friend and colleague Eric on the program, big Pirates fan. His favorite team was the 1979 Pirates, just like it was with 39 Cobra, who is one of the OOTP managers and followers. So we are replaying a historical game against the 1965 Dodgers as suggested by Cubs fan Steve. Again, if you are just coming into the stream, thank you guys. Over 100 of you still following along and watching today on this Tuesday, back to work for a lot of you guys. Some of us, we got a little more free time on our hand. So if you've got your phone, under your desk or in the office or kind of listening to this in the background, no giveaway today, but there will be some packs given away on Thursday. Another special guest coming in. We're going to do something fun on Thursday that involves you and making some predictions. Again, kind of a twist on Dishnet's Call Your Shot. We're going to do that on Thursday, but you got to be here right at the beginning to fill out the Google form and to get entered. So don't forget, Thursday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, Eric, we are back to the game. It is the bottom of the 8th inning. Just to kind of do a little bit of a recap here, the Pirates scored their 3 runs right off the bat, top of bottom of the 1st inning. The Dodgers got one back in the top of the 3rd, and it's been scoreless ever since. Both starting pitchers are out of the game now. We have Bob Miller in for Los Angeles, who is 26 years old. And for your Pirates, as suggested by Cobra, we have Don Caveman Robinson. Caveman, he must have had quite the beard at that time. 22 years old. So Cobra and Eric are having some faith in the young guy in this key matchup. So Stargell at the plate. Eric called a home run here. Let's continue the last couple innings. Here comes the pitch from Miller, and Stargell drives it deep, 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 and it is gone. It is gone over the left or over the right center field wall.
So I was close, right center field. Yep.
417 feet, Eric.
So I called my shot. Do I win a prize? Is that
you called your shot. You are the Babe Ruth of OOTP. Yes.
So you'll send my prize in the mail. That's great. Thank you.
Eric will be back later for autographs. He will autograph your pill cap from the 1970s.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Bob Miller staying in the game. And as Cobra says, boom.
Beautiful.
Yes, a solo home run for Stargell.
Really?
We wouldn't expect anything different. We Are Family is blaring on the speakers.
Hugely so.
Garner hits a weak ground ball to third base. Easy play for the Dodgers, and that is 2 away. That's going to bring up Mike Easler. This could be the last at bat for the Pirates. Easler hits one into center field. That is going to drop for a base hit, and the Pirates are not done yet. Steve Nicosia up at the plate. Oh, that gets away from the catcher. That is going to advance the runner to second base. Runner in scoring position. Here comes the pitch. 2-2 count. That is a base hit to center field and the 5th run for your Pirates. It is 5-1, 2 out, runner on first. And surprisingly, Bob Miller is still in the game. That is a lazy fly ball to center field. Easy play for the Dodgers. And we go to top of 9. 5-1. What do we do? Cubs fan Steve is regretting his pick now. He said, I should have picked the 61 Yankees. Maris, yeah, can you imagine Maris and Mantle? All right, what do we want to do, team? It's top of 9. Do we go with Kent Tekulve, or do we let it play out a little bit with Don Robinson? 4-run lead. Do we play it safe, or do we let the Robinson, the caveman, continue on? All right, Cobra saying let Robinson have 1 batter and bring in Tekulve.
I'd be good with that. Yeah, I want to see Tekulve because I think he ended it in '79. I think if I remember correctly, he was on the mound when they won. So
how fitting it would be. Here's the pitch. Oh, what a grab by the Pirate third baseman. Who was that? That was Bill Madlick. Grabbed that ball. 1 away. Willie Davis on the mound. And yeah, it's time. It's time to bring in the man. We are going to bring in Kent Tekulve as the Pirates pitcher. And he will be facing Willie Davis, Roseboro, and if needed be, the number 9 pitching spot. And if we get to the pitching spot, we're going to let Cubs fan Steve come in because he picked the team. We're going to let him come in and select the pinch hitter for Bob Miller. All right. If we get that part, let's see if Tekulve can get 2 away. Willie Davis on the mound. Willie Davis, let's take a quick look at him, what we can expect. He's got a little bit of contact. He's good, with the avoiding Ks, and not much of a home run pop, but we don't want a home run. We want his speed on the base path. Let's see. Here comes the pitch from Tekulve. Oh, I don't know if you can see the animation there, Eric, but they have the Tekulve animation. But he gets on. Willie Davis, a single. And you still got a 4-run lead, but we've got John Roseboro at the plate. Pitching spot up next. And he takes a walk. Wow, we've got 2 on, 1 away. And the game, the AI has brought in John Torberg. So Cubs fan Steve, if you are still in the chat, do you want to replace Torberg with anyone else? Valley, John Kennedy, Don LeJohn, Dick Tracewski, Tommy Davis, Wally Moon, or Al Ferreira? Power-wise, Ferreira has the most power.
Yeah.
Contact-wise, it's Don LeJohn. You're calling Tommy Davis? All right. Let's do this. Let's have Cubs fan Steve see if he can come in and save the game. Tommy Davis to pinch hit. Let's take a look at Tommy Davis, 26-year-old. Got a lot of development to do. So, yeah, we'll see. He's a fly ball hitter. All right, final call there, Cubs fan Steve. You going with Tommy Davis? Now that you've seen kind of his stats and his numbers? I'll show you the others. There's LeJohn. There's Dick Tracewski. Al Ferreira. Wally Moon. John Kennedy. I wouldn't recommend him. And Hector Naval. Probably not a good pinch hitter. So we're going to stick with Tommy Davis coming in to pinch hit for the pitcher. All right. Tommy Davis at the plate. 1 away, 2 on. Kent Tekulve on the mound. Let's see what happens. Here's the pitch. And that is driven to first base. And do they get the double play? No. Tommy Davis beats it out. Squeaked in there. That could have been the ball game. So now we have 2 on, 2 out, back to the top of the lineup. And for the Dodgers, we've got Maury Wills. Great contact, great avoid Ks, really good speed, a ground ball hitter, one of the best on the Dodgers, 32-year-old in the game. And if he gets on, Lefebvre and Gilliam will be up next. Kent Tekulve with the pitch. And that is driven to center field. That is shallow, and that is going to do it. And your Pittsburg Pirates celebrate once again. We are family. They celebrate, and Cobra is going to have a much better day now with the Pirates reliving their victory.
Beautiful.
So we see the box score here. Jim Bibby was the player of the game. He went 7 innings, giving up 6 hits and 1 earned run. He walked a couple. For your Pirates, we had Bill Madlock, 2 for 4. We had Dave Parker with the key 2-run shot in the first inning. Willie Stargell went 2 for 4 with a home run. And Mike Easler, 2 for 4 in the game. For your 65 Dodgers Cubs fans, Steve, no one really had an outstanding game other than the catcher, Roseboro. John Roseboro went 2 for 3. And other than that, it was pretty quiet. 8 hits for the Dodgers, 10 hits for the Pirates. The Dodgers committed that one key error in giving up a run there. And Koufax, 6 innings, 10 strikeouts. But of course, the home run to Parker was a moral deflator. So that is your Pirates versus Dodgers matchup. And Cobra says, thank you. That was awesome. Yeah, I'd like to get more of this going with the community and playing some of these games with some of your favorite teams. It was really fun to do. I'm just going to switch screens here, Eric. Give me a second. And for those of you that don't play OOTP, it is on sale this week. Only $9.99 to get the base version of the game, which allows you to do exactly what I did, play some of these historical matchups. And of course, you can play Perfect Team and open up packs and build up your own roster. So for the next week, OOTP 23 on sale at ootpdevelopments.com for $9.99. Great time to pick up the game if you haven't already. Well, Eric, it's been a blast reliving some of the baseball history. Thank you so much for joining. Before we end off, what do you think about the Pirates team this year? Talk about the 2023 version and what you're expecting.
You know, it's been very difficult. I have a Pirates shirt that I got a few years ago when they hadn't made the playoffs for a long time, and I think I got it in 09 or 10, and it on the back of it says and all together, yeah, I know. And the reason why I got that as my nameplate is because of the fact that people would say to me, "You're a Pirates fan?" And I'd say, "Yeah." And they'd say, "Well, they suck." And I'd say, "Yeah, I know." And unfortunately, and then I had a number 20 on the back as well, because I think it was 20 years since they made the playoffs. And then, of course, Andrew McCutchen came in and saved us and so on. But I don't think you're looking for the history. You know what? It's been such a dry spell and such a disappointment over the last bit. The Andrew McCutchen years were a light in a very dark time. So what do I expect? I would. I don't expect. I expect probably at best I can expect in that division a fourth place position. I think at best. I think Cincinnati's still struggling considerably, although they could be coming up. So, and St. Louis is always so good. Like, I do respect St. Louis, even though they're a division rival. You have to respect St. Louis. So, yeah, I mean, I guess the only good thing is Houston's not in their division anymore, because Houston suddenly got very good as well. So what do I expect? I'm going to go with, probably no more than 80 wins. And that would get us close to 500. I think they will improve a little bit, but it's going to be a while. So I'm afraid.
And they have had a busy offseason. They've made, a few little moves, nothing really huge, I guess, no big name free agents. They signed catcher Austin Hedges, who is, really good defensive catcher. Connor Joe was traded to the Pirates last week. Connor Joe, cool name. Vince Velasquez was signed as a free agent as well to their pitching staff. They signed free agent shortstop Eduardo Brioso. They claimed Jose Hernandez off of waivers. So they are making moves to try and improve their roster. They're at least, doing something. And let's not forget, they have the number 1 overall pick in the next draft as well. So they won the lottery, and they're going to get a really, really good player. Is there anyone on the current roster that you're a big fan of? Because just to be transparent, Eric subscribes to, the Major League Baseball, and he gets all these games. And believe me, he is a top level baseball fan. He'll watch baseball games from any team. Of course, he supports his Pirates. Is there anyone that currently is on the team that is kind of your Willie Stargell of 2023?
The Willie, nobody replaces Willie. Even Andrew McCutchen, for me, who would have been my last true favorite. When I think of that, Key Brian Hayes for sure. There was a lot of excitement. He did sign a longer contract, and that's good for a small market team. I know Pittsburgh fans were very very excited. He got injured very early on. But I like Brian Hayes. I think he's probably the one that stands out for me right now. I think there's something to build on there. He's a young kid, seems like a decent kid. So let's build on that and go from there. He's probably the one, I guess, if you're asking. Yeah.
Brian Reynolds, he's pretty good, isn't he? I don't follow the Pirates. Is Brian Reynolds one of the?
Yeah, they had some trouble signing him, and there was a lot of talk about that. And I, but Brian Reynolds would be the other kind of standout, if you will. So those would be the two. Yeah.
And how about their pitching? Who would you consider their ace? Do they have really a number one guy?
Oh man,
David Bednar, I guess. Will Pro.
I think probably from a pitching standpoint, it really hasn't. There really hasn't had anybody, to be honest with you. So I always focus more on the offense a little bit more. So there isn't really anybody to me who kind of who grabs me or gets going on because the Pirates have struggled so much, and a lot of it is the fact that their pitching staff has been quite, I don't know.
So pitching by committee kind of thing then.
Yeah, it's pitching by committee and also, just nobody really standing out. And I mean, they do have their, 1 through 5, if you will, but oy vey, I'll just leave it at that. So
yeah.
But you know what? I still love them. They're still, still my team. But that gets a little bit tough. You're pretty excited in April. May is okay, and it's been really tough the last little bit because by June, July, and August they're really just not in the mix anymore by any stretch. So
yes. Well, and as I said, I every once in a while I do kind of that historical gameplay, and we pit two people. We usually kind of spin a wheel and see what teams we get. And so we've got the 1901 Americans all the way up to the 2008 Orioles and Padres. And it's kind of cool that you can play, different teams and eras in this baseball game. It's a really cool game. To end off, Eric, since you're a Canadian as well, we've got to do some Canadian trivia, Canadian favorites, because we do have a few Canadian viewers. I don't know if any are here today, but if you live in Canada, put a message in the chat because you'll be familiar with this. First of all, Eric, is it Z or Z?
Of course it's Z. Yes, that was an easy one. I wasn't sure what you were going to ask me. I was getting ready like, oh boy, we're going to go with Canadian players. But yeah, it's definitely Z.
Marmo's dad said, he's from Canada as well. So got another Canadian in the chat. Next up, where would you go buy your coffee? Which Canadian company would you support? Would you go for the double the price second cup, or would you go to Timmy's, eh?
Well, as my colleague, my friends, you and I have spent many time at Timmy's. We love Timmy's. We also had another colleague who would consider all of these way below him. But yeah, it's Tim Hortons, and of course, as a Leaf fan, which is painful as well at times. Yeah, of course you got to support Tim Hortons. It's that simple.
Yes, and that brings up my next one. Eric is a huge Toronto Maple Leaf fan, and he could probably wear that same Pirates jersey, during the hockey season, because I know would be a very common phrase with Leaf fans. And as you can see on the screen here, I have to ask Eric, why are all these Maple Leaf players smiling?
Well, if I'm looking at the right thing here, we got, there's George Armstrong as the captain. We all know that George Armstrong was the last Leaf captain to hoist the Stanley Cup, 1967 Stanley Cup winners.
So that's why they're smiling, is because they just came off their last cup victory. And Eric is waiting. Never in his lifetime has he seen Toronto.
Yeah, well, of course I have in my lifetime. Don't I was a little young in '67, but I remember it.
Do you? Really. No, not really.
But
no,
I was around in '67, so don't say they haven't won since I've been on the earth. They have.
Okay, since you've been watching hockey and not in diapers, the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Well, if you're going to make those rules, and the argument will be, unfortunately, and this is probably not politically correct, but I'm going to say it anyway, I'll probably be in diapers again before they ever get close. But, so, and that's sad but true. And I just hope that I can remember it when they do. But, yeah, it looks very good. Mind you, I say that every year, as you know. It looks very good for the Leafs this year. And then, we'll see what happens come, I guess it's April now. So, oh my God. Yeah. Well, yeah.
They have to get by. They have to get by this team right here. Yeah, we'll just leave the Leaf talk at that, because
this is a baseball thing. So poor people.
Yeah, this is a baseball thing.
Yeah.
And for those of you that enjoy hockey, Eric and I and a couple others do a podcast where, once a month or so we get on and we just talk hockey and everything there is, especially about the Canadian teams. We're always looking for other hockey fans. We've got a Canadianz fan, and you know how Canadianz fans can be. He lives directly, right in Montreal. We have a true-blooded Oiler fan. Eric, of course, a Leaf fan. And I have to kind of be the referee, the moderator during these discussions. So if you're a Flames fan, a Jets fan, a Senators fan, a Canucks fan, a Rangers fan, whatever fan you may be of, get a hold of me. And I'd love if you're willing to come on camera and just talk hockey. We do a kind of a once a month podcast, and we have a good time. As you can see, we're all kind of smiling, and it gets a little heated at times. But if you're interested in being part of this, I'll leave a link to this episode here if you want to kind of check it out and see what it's all about. And it's fun talking sports with fellow sports fans and sports nuts. All right, finishing off, Eric, with a couple more kind of questions here. As a Canadian, bring up kind of my main screen here. All right, as a Canadian, would you reach for, now I know, health concerns and things like that may be an issue, but let's just say you could have one of these. Would you go for the Canadian Smarties or the Nestle Coffee Crisp, 2 Canadian products?
Well, and there was a very great commercial, and I still love it. And how do you like your coffee crisp? Coffee Crisp is number one. Smarties is for little kids. Coffee Crisp is for mature adults like ourselves. Laptop, So Lappy, that's what we would have. Coffee Crisp. Thank you very much.
And I think America has something similar. I don't think they call them Smarties, or at least they never used to. I know they have M&Ms and Reese's Pieces, but I believe they have a candy very similar to this, but it's got a different name. So if any of you Americans know what I'm talking about, a similar kind of product, just post it in the chat there. And 2 more to go. Growing up in the 70s and, your parents with the TV, I don't know if you had black and white or color TV back then. I had a black and white one. On the weekends, Friday night, Saturday night, it was always one of these 2 guys, right? Who was the show that your parents watched every week and you kind of had to follow along?
Well, I can honestly say that they didn't watch Lawrence Welk at all. So that was something that didn't happen. So, but Tommy Hunter always followed, the national institution in the West here of Hockey Night in Canada, and then Tommy would be on. So if it got left on afterwards, we'd be watching Tommy, but never Lawrence Welk, ever.
And last one, growing up in the 70s, was it Janet or Chrissy? Come on. Who did you have the crush on?
Well, I mean, Janet she was practical and cute and so on, but yeah, that wasn't good. You know, yeah, no, she was lovely, but that was the friend that you would call and ask if Chrissy's home, right? Like, I mean, yeah, it was simple. So yeah, no, Chrissy all the way. Thanks very much. It's very simple.
All right, Eric, thanks for joining us. We do have an ad break coming up. It's going to kick in any second. And thanks for being on. We enjoyed it. I hope the audience enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye now.
Okay. All right, guys, ad break coming up here. So stay tuned. We'll be back in 90 seconds and take a look at the three teams, the Gladiators, the J, and the Lights Camera Action. So be back in 90 seconds. Episode number 44. And on the Twitter for OOTP, not much except an announcement of what's coming on Thursday. Thursday, the content will be all about birthdays. So should be easy to figure out which P cards do we not have that have had the players have had a birthday in December. We saw the Ricky Henderson on Christmas Day, but which other big time players have had December birthdays? That is going to be the feature of the release in a couple days. So something to investigate, something to kind of look up and predict who we're going to get. Of course, having a birthday yesterday was Mario Mendoza, the new JP Arancibia card. Another 40 level card, probably good in low cap tournaments, iron tournaments. Of course, we've got the, I can't remember the shortstop, Mike Gonzalez. Who is the shortstop that currently is like a 41 or 42 and is kind of a meta in iron? So we've got a new one. Mario Mendoza is on the way. So look forward to the December birthday release and the Mendoza. Again, Perfect Team is on sale, 75% off. You can go and check out the website, OOTP Developments, and purchase your game on Steam or on Epic. Hockey, FHM, 33% off as well. And if you're unaware, you can play OOTP on your device, on your phone, on your tablet. I probably play it 60% on my phone, 40% on the computer. Great utility to keep track of your teams and enter tournaments, open packs, set your rosters using OOTP Go. So if you're unaware of the app, you can get it on the Apple Store, on the Google Play Store, and play OOTP on the go. One other thing I wanted to show you here, guys, if I can find it. Where is it? Because I thought it was a cool kind of update. I guess I didn't keep it for the stream. Do one more little check here. Just kind of wasting some time as we wait for Nersha to come on stream. Here we go. Of course, EVC mentioned all the theme team championships from Sunday. But Dish, if you haven't seen this, Dish yesterday posted the update for the LE polls. So as of yesterday, there are still 7 more Bobby Gritches. Only 6 out of 100 Ricky Hendersons were polled yesterday at 4 p.m. Eastern. And Mario Mendoza, the 40 level card, only 3 I know a few more have been pulled since then, but that kind of gives you an update of which LE cards are still out there. So all the other ones, like the Andy Bennis and all those other LE cards, it looks like they are complete. They have all been pulled to the maximum. All right, guys, that is going to do it for the stream. I'm going to raid over to Nersha. So if you're still on, give them a little bit of love, stay on for, a little bit of time just to, give them a few minutes of viewership. It is a great day for baseball. It always is, talking Pirates from 79, OOTP, Dodgers, even, the Yankees. It's a great day for baseball. Be kind to yourself and someone else this week. I am back on Thursday again with a special guest and a giveaway. So we will catch you then. I'm going to go see if I can raid into Nurse.